The Partisans. These weren't a regular army in uniform, but their impact on wars was massive. The Partisans were resistance fighters who appeared widely during World War II. Instead of the direct confrontation with massive armies, they relied on guerrilla warfare. They would hide among civilians or in forests and mountains, then launch surprise attacks on supply lines, trains, airfields, and military bases. This style frustrated regular armies, forcing them to spread their forces everywhere. In this way, the Partisans caused heavy losses to their enemies despite having no tanks or planes, proving that will and planning can defeat even the strongest conventional armies. The Gurkhas. In the world of combat, there are soldiers whose names alone strike terror. The Gurkhas are fighters from Nepal, famous for their physical strength and bravery. Many grew up in mountainous regions, giving them insane endurance. Their trademark is the kukri, a curved knife used in close-quarters combat. Throughout history, they've earned a reputation as the deadliest soldiers in direct confrontations. Some soldiers used to say they'd rather face any army except the Gurkhas. Aztec Jaguar warriors. In the Aztec civilization, there were elite warriors known as the Jaguar Knights. To become one, you had to capture a specific number of enemies in an actual battle. They wore jaguar skins to strike fear into their opponents. Their most famous weapon was the maquahuitl, a wooden sword embedded with sharp obsidian blades. This weapon was so dangerous that one strong hit could cause a fatal injury instantly. Delta Force. In modern armies, there are secret units, but this one is considered the most mysterious. Delta Force is one of the most dangerous special forces units in the world, belonging to the U.S. Army. To even get in, you have to be among the best soldiers in the military. Then begins a grueling test: long marches, brutal terrain, and massive psychological pressure. The goal is to create a soldier capable of executing high-stakes operations behind enemy lines, like rescuing hostages or taking out high-value targets without leaving a trace. The Assassins, Hashashin. Some military powers don't rely on large armies, but on surgical strikes. The Assassins were a group famous for organized political assassinations. Instead of open battles, they relied on stealth and reaching the target directly, no matter how heavily guarded. This style created an aura of terror around them back then, to the point where many leaders were afraid to even mention their name. And before we continue with the rest of the armies, if you enjoy this type of video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new uploads. The Vikings warriors, who would suddenly appear from the sea and vanish after the attack. The Vikings were famous for their surprise raids on coastlines. Thanks to their fast ships, they could navigate seas and rivers to reach distant lands. A Viking warrior believed that dying in battle was the highest honor. This belief made them fearless fighters, earning them a terrifying reputation in Europe for several centuries. The Mamluks, an entire army trained from childhood to be a killing machine. The Mamluks weren't just ordinary soldiers, they were a complete military system. They were trained from a young age in horsemanship, archery, and fighting with swords and spears. This brutal training turned them into elite knights. Their most famous moment was the Battle of Ain Jalut, where they stopped the Mongol advance that was sweeping the world at the time. This victory didn't just save the region, it changed the course of history. The Janissaries, an army that played a massive role in expanding one of the greatest empires. The Janissaries were the elite of the Ottoman army for centuries. Their training started at a very young age and was strict and harsh. They were also among the first armies to use rifles and firearms systematically in battle. Their presence in any battle gave the Ottomans a huge advantage, but over time, they gained political influence within the state, which eventually led to the end of this military force in the 19th century. The Knights Templar. In the Middle Ages, a strange fighting unit emerged that combined monasticism and combat. The Templars weren't just soldiers, they were warrior monks who dedicated their lives to war. They had a very strict code in battle. They were not allowed to retreat unless the enemy outnumbered them more than 3 to 1. Their grueling training and intense faith in their cause made them one of the most feared forces on the battlefield. Khalid ibn Al-Walid's army. Imagine a commander who fought over 100 battles and never lost a single one. That was Khalid ibn Al-Walid. The army he led didn't rely on numbers as much as it relied on speed and organization. Khalid was famous for his incredible ability to flip the battle plan at the exact right moment. The best example was the Battle of Yarmouk, when the Islamic army faced a force several times its size. But thanks to rapid maneuvers and smart troop division, the battle turned into one of the most significant military victories in history. The samurai warriors who lived their entire lives by one code: honor above all. The samurai were the warriors of ancient Japan. They followed a strict system called Bushido, the way of the warrior. Their training began in childhood, learning swordsmanship, archery, and riding. For them, loyalty and discipline were more important than life itself. That's why the samurai remained the primary military force in Japan for centuries. The IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, a military force considered one of the most influential in the region today. The Revolutionary Guard was founded after the Iranian Revolution, with the primary goal of protecting the regime inside Iran and carrying out missions outside its borders. Unlike traditional armies, they have a different approach that relies heavily on unconventional operations. One of their most famous units is the Quds Force, which works on covert operations and supporting groups in various countries. The IRGC doesn't just rely on military power. It uses tactics like political influence and proxy wars, which is why it has played a major role in Middle Eastern conflicts. The Navy SEALs. In the modern era, this is one of the most elite special operations units in the world. The name SEAL stands for sea, air, and land, because they are trained to fight in all environments. Their training is considered among the toughest in the world. There's a phase known as Hell Week, where a soldier's physical and mental endurance is tested to the absolute limit. This unit is usually assigned the most dangerous missions, like covert operations behind enemy lines. The Immortals. Imagine facing an army where every time a soldier falls, a new one appears instantly. In the ancient Persian Empire, there was an elite unit called the Immortals. Their number was fixed at exactly 10,000 soldiers. The secret behind their name was that any soldier who died or fell ill was immediately replaced by another from the reserves. This made enemies believe they were fighting an army that never diminished, giving them the reputation of an unstoppable force. But in the end, true power isn't just in numbers or weapons. It's in faith, determination, and planning. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you want to see more stories about history and battles, choose one of the 2 videos appearing on the screen now. See you soon in a new video.